Hey everyone, welcome back to the Half Soybean channel. My name is Sharon and today we are going to be making a halter neck top. I had some scrap pieces of fabric laying around at home, so I thought this project might be a great way to use some of it up. When making patterns for yourself, I've actually found it really useful to have a base bodice pattern, and you can use that to alter it into different shapes that you might need. So I'm going to link down below a really great blog post on how you can make a basic 2-dart bodice that fits your own body. I'm also going to be using that as a basis to make the halter top today. I'm going to alter this 2-dart bodice to have princess seams, which I'll also link a blog post below for you as well. Today you will need 2 pieces of fabric, one for the shell and one for the lining. You will also need bias binding. You can make this yourself or you can buy it from the store, and you will also need an invisible zip. This doesn't have to be long, but if yours is too long, you can easily cut invisible zippers. This is a basic 2-dart bodice that you can make according to the blog instructions linked below. I drafted mine a while ago and it's actually been really helpful to have. This is what it looks like when it is sewn up, and you don't even have to go to the princess seam step. You can just alter this pattern into the halter neck shape from here and just move on to the next step. However, I wanted to try out the blog instructions on how to make princess seams, and it was actually really easy to do. It was very simple to go from darts to princess seam, and I made it into a basic halter shape afterwards, as you can see here. You don't have to get the pattern correct right from the start because you can keep altering it as you go, and this is what I did. For the back, I pretty much cut out a trapezium shape. This is a basic bodice for the back with 1 dart that usually pairs with the 2-dart front bodice, but I just cut across the armpit line and made it slightly smaller to make the pattern for the halter top. I cut out all my pattern pieces, and for the front middle section, remember to cut on the fold unless you want a giant seam running down the front of your top. I cut out 2 of each for each of the side front pieces and also 2 of the back pieces. I repeated the same for my lining fabric. I very loosely followed that princess seam making blog, and now I'm very loosely making a halter neck shape. I think because I don't exactly know how the final pattern is going to look, I'm just going to go the route where I just keep trying it on and seeing where I need to make alterations to make it the shape that I actually want. I quickly gave all the pieces a press, and this is the bias tape that I will be using. It is a beautiful dusty pink satin. I got really hot suddenly, so I had to quickly change, but I'm just going to sew all of the princess seams and see how we go from there. I am sewing these together by matching right sides together like this and just sewing around the curve. It might seem like the edges don't really fit together, but actually they do, and it creates a 3D shape for your bust. Because it is a curved seam, I gave them little snips so that it would lay flatter from the right side. Then I am doing a top stitch along either side of the seam on the shell, but this is just for aesthetic purposes and I don't think they really do much otherwise. Okay, so I've done the outer shell, but I'm noticing that the halter isn't quite sitting where I want it to. I need it to come down here and come a little bit in with the armpit. So I need to do some cutting around here and here. The sides seem to sit well, and the princess seams seem to give a nice fit around the bust as well. That actually means that I also have to adjust my lining pieces, but I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to sew it up first and then cut however much I cut with the shell. I'm sewing up the lining fabric and matching it up with the shell and cutting the lining so that it has the same halter neckline as the shell. What I did to sew the bodice is that I took the front part of the bodice, and to the left side I attached one piece of the back, and to that I attached the other back piece. This is so that the zipper can be on the side for easy access. Your zipper can be on the left or the right. Mine was on the right, and it can just be based on whichever hand is your dominant hand. Again, this is an opportunity to make any adjustments to ensure that the top fits you correctly. What we are up to now is we have the shell attached like this, because we're going to have the zipper on the side here, and also the same thing with the lining. I'm going to baste the top end of this as you would, because we're going to add a bias strip to the top. We don't have to do right sides together or anything, at least for the top edge for now, and just sew along the top edge as the final top would look, so that we can add in the bias strips later on. So just to confirm, add in a loose temporary stitch along the top edge, but we can take the stitch out later. Now I am adding the invisible zip, and to do this, place the zipper on the right side of the shell and then open the zipper and flip it so that the zipper teeth are on the opposite side of the raw end of the fabric. But because this isn't a tutorial on how to add invisible zippers, I will add a link below on a video on how you can attach invisible zippers with a lining. Okay, this is a quick update on how it looks. I think it fits pretty well. Now I just need to finish off the bottom and then add the bias strips to the top and the sides. To finish the bottom edge of the top, flip the fabric so right sides are facing together and start from one end of the zipper and sew about 2/3 of the way. Then finish that stitch and start again from the other side of the zipper and sew until you have about a 4-inch gap from the stitch you made from the other end of the zip. Then flip the top inside out and fold in the raw hems and just hand sew that opening closed. I just gave the bottom hem a press. Wow, I'm actually pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. All I have to do, so like I finished off the bottom, now it's all clean and I gave it a press, and now I just have to add the satin bias to the top, and then I will be done. Oops! To add the bias, I first added the bias along the straight neckline. Start on the inside of the top and sew along the fold. Then flip it to the right side of the top and top stitch it down. Then with another piece of bias, leave about 20 or 25 inches, however long you want the ties to be hanging, and then sew the bias from one armpit corner. Once you sew all the way around to the other armpit corner, leave another 20 inches so that this forms the tie on the other end of the top. This is so that you don't have to attach separate ties to the top, and it's just all one long length going around the top. This is what the final top looks like, and surprisingly, all the colors look really cohesive even though I just used scraps I had at home. The zipper is a nice way to get in and out of the top since it is quite a fitted top. I didn't intend for this top to be reversible, but it could totally be worn in reverse because the lining fabric is so cute as well. But I personally don't think I will wear this top in reverse just because I didn't make the stitching nice enough on the inside of the bias strip. But had I known, if I knew that it would look so cute in reverse as well, I would have made my stitches more carefully. To give you a closer look at the bias ties, it's literally just one long length around the top. Essentially, just leave an extra length of bias binding on the ends to act as the ties for a really clean finish. And this is what it looks like on. I really love how the final top turned out. I love the pop of pink. I think it's such a cute touch, and it sort of gives me early 2000s vibes. The fabric itself is a stretchy denim, so it's super comfortable as well. I did find that there is a very slight gaping at the neckline, and that's because the ties are pulling towards the center top of your neck, and it seems to lay flatter depending on how tight you tie the knot at your neck. I think I might even turn it into a regular strappy top because that would also look very cute as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video.